I'm not really sure why I'm being guided to make this video right now, but it feels important and it feels inspired in this moment, so I'm just going to talk about it. I'm feeling really, really centered in my heart right now, and I'm seeing the truth more clearly than I ever have in my life. I went through a situation over the last almost 2 years now, and it's been very behind the scenes. I've touched on it here and there, but I've never come out and spoken about it completely publicly because it's not worth bringing a lot of it to the surface. I don't think that the people involved really even deserve the time of day. But at the same time, it's been an extremely important part of my healing and my growth. Part of the reason my name is Medicine Eagle now is because of going through this process. It was the hardest process I've ever gone through in my life. I've never been through a cycle so difficult that challenged me to become stronger and more empowered in myself, and to see the parts of myself, the shadows within myself, the darkness within myself that was lingering, that I thought I'd already healed, that I thought I'd already moved past. No, this took me to a different depth and level. It came at a time in my life when I was on the up and up in terms of my energy and in terms of my creative power. I think in a lot of ways I would have started sharing in this way that I'm sharing now with the readings and the intuitive spiritual practice back then if I didn't go through this process. But going through this process has now amplified and deepened my practice in an even more profound way, so I'm very grateful for it. But the point of this video is really to say I am finally at the point where I can send these people in the situation that I was in the greatest love. The greatest love and the greatest compassion and the greatest forgiveness. Does it always feel that way? No, not always. And I think this is the process of forgiving. It's not clean, it's not easy, and it comes in waves. Forgiving somebody, truly, to the point that you do not feel triggered, you don't feel threatened, you don't feel pulled back into something any longer, is a process, and it requires the strength to reclaim your own power, to reclaim the power and the parts of yourself that were lost in the situation in the first place, because that's what holds us in the space of bitterness, of vengeance, of pain, of anger, is we perceive that we've lost something important to us. We perceive that someone else has stolen something from us that can't be regained, but it can. And it's really a choice to show up every day, to feel through, process, and learn and grow and ultimately expand. So that's what I've been doing for the last, very long time, because this situation never came to a place where it ever had proper closure, and I had to create my own closure. And again, I was dealing with a group of people, a lot of people, many groups of people. And really, in a lot of ways, still in the background, technically kind of am. But there's a feeling now of it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And without going into too many details about the situation itself, I had to cut my losses. I had to walk away from something that really mattered to me, that was purposely being withheld from me. And I had to forgive and move on anyway. I had to be strong anyway. And I've had to learn that holding resentment and bitterness in my heart only poisons myself at the end of the day. It only keeps the loop open. It only keeps me stuck. And so as vulnerable and scary and dangerous as it can feel to open your heart back up and to forgive and to, with immense courage, send love back to those people who've harmed you, to wish the best for them, and to recognize they are on their path. They could only operate from the level of consciousness they were at when they did what they did, and I was operating at the level of consciousness I did when I did what I did. When we understand this from a more neutral perspective, this is when we can free ourselves And this is why forgiveness is not an act for another person or even just for ourselves. It's a transcendent act of freedom. It frees us to forgive, or to at least dedicate ourselves to trying. So, if any of these people are watching this video, I forgive you. I love you from my heart, even if that can be hard some days to remember. Even if I never receive the apology, even if I never, receive what was lost, I reclaim it energetically and in my heart, and that's enough. And I will move on. And so, for anyone watching this who is going through a similar situation, know there is light at the end of the tunnel. You will not always feel this bitter if you're committed. You will not always feel this vengeful. You will not always feel this anger, this adrenaline, this fight or flight. You will eventually get to a point where it makes sense, where you can let go, even if it takes time, in layers. Similar to grief. When you've lost something or lost someone, it takes time and it comes in layers. Healing comes in layers. So, be gentle with yourself. Remember that you have the power to choose, always, even when it's hard. And what makes you the bigger person in any situation is to move forward with dignity, grace, and love the best you can. Even if it's a process, to commit to that. Look higher, my friends. All right. Genuinely, I love you all very much, and I hope this helps.